Yeah, I stopped the stream for 2 seconds on accident.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Just refresh. It'll be fine. Everybody refresh. Just refresh. Hunter still sees us. See, I was quick with it. You can tell I've had no sleep. I don't even got my fucking hat on. Jesus. Now I'll leave it off tonight.
Is this us right now? Nope.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Dude, you flipped the curtain.
I know I flipped the curtain.
I didn't know you flipped the curtain. I thought you said you pushed the wrong button. There's motorcycles driving by your house. I'm sitting here and I see me looking at my phone on YouTube while I'm sitting here being filmed on YouTube. It's like some Inception stuff. You got me. You got me. You worked me good.
I know. See? Ta-da.
Meow.
Oh, I think I just made 2 videos on YouTube too. God.
What did you do?
I hit the wrong button.
See, this is why we cannot have nice things. We're on the last night. This is the last Reignited for a while. This is why we can't have nice things, folks. I'm sorry. I'm. Hey, Queen, how you doing, kid?
See, they can still see us. I just had an oopsie.
I found out that they can see us by when I saw us. That was a great movie. Did anybody see that movie, by the way, Inception? Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. That was a wicked good movie. You talk about a mind job. That was a great movie.
Oh, man, they got rid of my thumbnail and everything. Oh, no, I screwed up. It's okay. It's the last one. It's the last one. Actually, you know what?
What'd you do?
I'll quickly put one on. Oh, boy. We're off to a great start.
Good times.
Always good times here. You never know what you're going to get from these shows.
So we got a new fan tonight, Frazier Jenkins over here on YouTube. How's it going, bud?
What a good way to introduce ourselves to new people.
Absolutely, yes. Let's get it right on the 4th try, if anything. Let's do it.
Where is it? Okay, thank God I have those saved for the day. There we go.
So wait, was the curtain flipped on the pre-stream conversation? Did they hear us talk?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. I don't know. I'm questioning everything right now. I don't know.
No, you're very right too. I definitely fucked up. I dropped the boob. All right. Okay. What are you doing with your hand? What's happening?
You said you dropped the boob.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I did.
I'm trying to figure that out. I have questions.
I mean, technically, what we shouldn't get into it, but
you can't drop it. You can just let it go.
Yeah, but it some of them, some of them, they slide.
What are we doing, everybody over here? We are the dudes. Those are the belts. RMP had Ignition a little while ago. Welcome to Reignited.
Oy. Yeah, you can tell that I haven't slept.
Frazier, to answer your question, I'll read it real quick. It says, can I ask, does Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling ever come to the UK? And I believe the answer to that is no. They are a promotion based out of Denver, Colorado, here in the United States. And, yo, that airfare's expensive.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Them planes ain't cheap no more.
You ain't kidding. Did I shut the news off? I did. Okay. God. Yeah, I'm
You all right, bro?
I'm gonna take a breather. Yes.
Woosah.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe
Feel the
in.
flow.
Breathe
Work it.
out.
Ride the bull. Feel it.
Riding bulls. Not like that though.
No, that was from Happy Gilmore.
That's right.
It was what was his name? Kevin
It was a
Nealon. I think
movie. It was a movie reference.
Yes. Yes.
Movie reference. People.
Doing the bull dance.
You and
Feeling
your
the flow.
sick goddamn minds.
Well, it is the internet.
I know.
It's the man. We helped create it.
What a
It's-
great way to start off the last Reignited for a while, huh?
Booyah!
Booyah.
Booyah!
Who needs
Booyah! Booyah.
coastal? We can crash and burn ourselves.
Down in flames, baby.
And it's burning.
Flames. It's like falling in lava in Minecraft.
Well,
Nothing
to be
but
honest,
flames.
it actually couldn't have been a better time to actually goof up and screw up because of what we've been dealing with up here. But we'll maybe talk about that. But
Yeah,
let's
this one hit
this,
close to home for the dudes.
Yeah, this is well. Let's just do the intro first. How's
All
it
right,
going,
yeah.
everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Dudes and Belts Reignited Post Show here on Twitch, YouTube, and damn it,
What?
look at the chat.
I was reading the YouTube chat. Yeah.
Hashtag screw the poo.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
That's where we're leaving it, baby. If you know, you know.
Where was I? Oh, yes. Well, I am your host of this show that is crashing and burning right now, Johnny Deathdrop.
Yeah,
With me,
say fine show. This one's hurting.
And to my right on screen, but in front of me right now, he is your resident masshole himself, the one and only referee Maki Pins, the tolerator
What
of
is
pineapples. Yes, I have to.
Tolerator of
I have
pineapples. Yes.
Yes.
We have stopped at the toleration threshold. However, tonight there was nothing to tolerate. There was great wrestling action in the ring. If you didn't enjoy yourself tonight, I don't know what you're doing, especially after the main event that we see. We see the two young ones, Camacho and Queso, going up against the tag team champions, Chopper City, baby. What a great main event. What action from bell to bell all night long. You had hoss fights. We had the lockouts coming out with a couple really big matches setting up, everything coming in, and no Thanksgiving next week. Man, there's a lot going on in RMP. We got a lot to talk about on this ultimate edition of Reignited. Tonight was the last one. For a while anyway, in this iteration, I'm a little sad about that. I've been the Reignited guy for a while. And I rather enjoy this show. I really love the live wrestling action. I'm going to miss it. I'm straight up from all the way here in Boston all the way to Denver. I'm going to miss this on Thursday nights. But RMP always changing and evolving, and 2024 is right around the corner. So every iteration brings in something new, and we'll have to see what the new year brings for Rocky Mountain Pro.
All right. Tonight is going to be a relatively brief show this evening, unfortunately. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have all heard the current and right now ongoing situation that's going on up here in New England, specifically Maine. Obviously last night we had I guess, you know what, we can call him that, douchebag up there.
Yeah, let's just call it like it is.
Yeah,
you know,
let's
how
just call it
we
like
kinda
it
used
is.
to.
I don't even think this video's up for monetization anyway after I screwed up anyway. So
Well,
it might
after
be
we've
okay.
already destroyed the first 6 minutes of the thing, I think.
Yeah, so that douchebag decided to shoot up a bowling alley and a bar last night and killed 18 and
Bowling
injured
alley.
13. Yep.
A bowling alley, dude.
First
Come
off,
to the place.
that hit home for us because of what we do up here. All right, so that was like our first concern, and then obviously my concern was calling the Coast Crusader because he lives up there.
Yep.
And he's doing okay, folks.
Yep.
He's well aware of the situation. He's far away from anything that's going on right now. All that we can say right now is that we've been kind of dealing with it back at home down in Mass because of all of our essentials going up there. But we had a couple bolos earlier that was kind of more closer to us because this guy has not gotten caught yet and it's been over 24 hours. He could be anywhere at this point. And so we've been on edge. I know Marky owns a business, specifically a goddamn bowling alley. So he's a little
Hey,
bit
oh,
on edge
right.
right now. So
It's not a gimmick, ladies and gentlemen. We have been professional bowlers for years. That's how Johnny, myself, Brian, that's how we know each other. And this is something we've been doing since we were children, young children, very young children. Something that's taught to us when we were very little. This crazy game of candlepin bowling up here in the Northeast. And this happened at a place where we've all been before. We've rolled there before. We know friends of ours that live within minutes of the joint, and this one hit entirely to. As a business owner, this is literally your worst nightmare. I've reached out as a business owner to them, and offered support and everything else. We all kind of band together when tragedies like this happen, but this one hit way too close to home for us here, Johnny. Way too close to home.
yeah, and considering me and you both live on border towns, we've been seeing a abnormally amount of police and law presence at our borders over the past 12 to 14 hours. I think the sheriff's department, not even the local or state, the sheriff's department's up there and on the border where I'm at right now, just sitting there. So it's still an ongoing situation. Um,
It's
obviously,
been making.
go ahead.
Good. No, I was going to say, ever since last night when this situation happened, there has been increased presence like everywhere, especially because John and I do live on border towns between Mass and New Hampshire. And there was a scary alert that the guy might have been seen in a town that's 2 towns away from where we live. That's entirely too close. So we've been on edge. So it was nice to have Rocky Mountain Pro tonight to kind of get our minds off of this and let us just get into this world and just take our minds off of some of the garbage going on in the world for an hour, hour and a half, and then another hour, hour and a half here with you people having a good time talking about everything that we've seen. It was a nice distraction tonight to be able to have this. So thank you for Rocky Mountain Pro from the dudes, more so than usually the dudes do thank being a part of this great thing that is called pro wrestling. But tonight was the distraction that we really kind of needed.
And there was conversation about possibly not having a show tonight just due to the situation and how fluid it still is right now with the douchebag still on the loose, still over 24 hours ever since it happened. So I was definitely contemplating not doing it, but show must go on, and this is the only way we're gonna kind of get our minds off of the situation for at least another hour and a half, and then I'll be up all night with my police scanner doing what I've been doing. So at least I will have a break from that, and we will be able to talk about Rocky Mountain Pro.
Yes.
With you guys.
Yes.
So, in conclusion, we give our condolences to the families that lost loved ones up there in Coastal's country of Maine, because it's technically a country.
It is kind of like another
to be honest.
The rest of New England kind of does look at Canada as like Maine as like Canada South, like it's its own area. But we love them. We love them up there. But
oh no,
it's one of them New England rivalries things. That's really kind of all. It's not because Maine used to be Massachusetts. Maine used to be.
At that point, it's not even the case because we're so small in terms of size compared to all the other states in the country. You screw with one of the New England states, you get all 6 of them coming right at you. And that's what's basically happening right now. Mass is up there, New Hampshire's up there, Vermont's up there. Even New York decided to go up there and help these guys. Right. So
this is when even massholes look at people from Connecticut and go, all right, we can be friends for a few minutes.
Yeah. So it's a little tight-knit region up here in the Northeast, and we'll be just fine. And hopefully this bastard's caught and sent away, or the other way, which right now I wouldn't care at the moment. But
let's get to the action.
Let's
flip the script a little bit here. Let's get to some of the action that we've seen tonight, because there's a lot of implications let's get back to RMP here for a quick minute because we have no Thanksgiving coming up next week.
Yes, we
There was a
do.
lot of implications coming up, a lot of matches with a lot of people in the building, a lot going on tonight. So by the time we get to the end of the show here, it sets us up really nicely for Charge next week, right before we have no Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and we're gonna just get right through this card and wind it up and be on our way here because we got stuff to do. Um, Starting off tonight, we had a horse fight right out of the get go
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah, we did.
between Zamore and Brew.
Oh, you talk about yo Wolfa. You talk
Go
about
ahead and keep on making animal noises. Go right ahead.
Wolfa.
Ofa. Yeah.
Talk
Okay.
about
Okay.
horses.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
No. I was gonna keep just saying the same sentence over. No, these two guys. Zamore sets the tone and doesn't even want to wait for Brew to get in the ring. As soon as the bell sounds, Zamore is like this caged animal before the match. The man is like vibrating in the ring, calling Brew in. And the first thing he does, he just this massive forearm right to Brew when he's not even ready for it. I think it KO'd him for a second. Echo runs up, runs a little distraction, gives Brew a little bit of time. Brew gets back up and then goes to Brew's game plan. I think it really caught him off balance. And kudos to Echo on the outside. I don't like it, but I can respect it and understand how he's helping out his homie, trying to give him an extra moment because that forearm that Z laid into him was brutal to just set the tone for the match. But then Brew really kind of sets his tone and shows that he had a game plan the entire time. He's been using this cloverleaf with a lot of efficiency, to be completely honest with you. And it's almost like he's setting up a lot of his offense. We've talked in the past before that, getting to where you have to be is a whole road. It's the entire alphabet. You can't just jump 3-4 letters. That's when mistakes happen. Brewer's learning how to put it together and work an entire match to get to the end where that move ends up hurting that body part even more. And Brew shows that in the beginning when he goes right after Zamore's ankle and toe area, basically the whole lower leg, setting up that clover leaf for later. And that's the majority of Brew's offense. Every time that Brew gets a moment, he goes right back at the leg. Zamore fires up. You get Echo on the side getting his shots in as Brew is distracting the ref here. And every single time that Zamore gets an inch, Brew takes that yard right back away from him. And then we see him towards the end. It took a lot to keep Zamore down. I want to reiterate this point because no matter how much the foot hurt, we kept seeing Zamore get up in the big splash, and we see the devastating Samoan drop. Normally, he kind of lets the guy go on the way down. No. He kept Brew very close to him and came down right on him, knocking all the air out of his lungs. But then, and I think Echo smelled that because here comes Echo on the top, distracting the ref yet again. Alex was caught between a rock and a hard place. Ref Alex had a real hard time trying to keep control in this match, not because it was getting out of control, but because he kept getting put in an awkward position where Echo would have that moment. And I guess that's kudos to Brew and Echo, depending on how you look at it, for running that kind of interference and keeping the ref off balance and keeping him out of Zamore's line of sight. So that way, when Zamore hits the big move, there's nobody there to cover it. And then Brew ends up getting up and getting to the point where the first cloverleaf, not just a cloverleaf, but he gets him locked in, and then he boots his ankle in his knee area, locks him over. Z gets the ropes, but then Brew pulls him right back off, and a second dose of the same medicine gets the job done. And Brew wins the match with a tight cloverleaf, the boots to the knee. I hope Zamore's leg, he was in chat a little while ago. I hope he's got some ice on that knee and ankle area because Brew was really attacking it. There was a game plan, an obvious game plan to get to that cloverleaf, and he did with a lot of effectiveness. After he stomps those knees like that, I'm telling you, Brew and Echo really putting it together. You don't have to like it. You don't have to want to be a part of it because I personally don't, but I can respect where Echo is taking Brew to this next level where he is in the talks for that Charge Championship, and soon enough, I think, Johnny, personally, for that RMP Championship.
I think we need to see less of Echo.
That's a fair assessment as well, based on how this match went. Yes.
Yes.
I'll go with that, too. Yeah.
I'll take more Brew and less of Echo. Thank you very much. Other than the shenanigans from Echo, of course, Brew did look good in there. Zamore, again, he hasn't been around in a little while. He came back last week, shook off some of that ring rust, came right back in, had a big hoss fight with Brew to start off the last Ignition for a while, and really kind of took it to him right from the get go. He knocked him on his ass clean. I mean, it was
Clean.
instant.
One shot.
And of
Clean.
course, Echo knew right away, and he had to get himself involved. And I'm just going to keep my comments to myself because the whole Echo thing is still tweaking me right now. But that's
Be
besides the
careful.
point.
You're gonna see him again. And some
That's
of us
here or
have
there.
paid our piper on this show, so be careful.
That's neither here or there. Anyways, moving on, going from one horse fight to another, or horse fight, I guess if you want to say it without the
Well,
accent.
these guys are pretty much the same
Um,
size and can toss each other, right? Yeah.
Derek Stone versus Jason Knoll. You okay? You gonna make it?
Yeah, I am. This I gotta give Stone props and I gotta give Noel props.
Wow, double whammy. Look at that.
You have to, even though this match devolved into, or devolved, I should say, into a cheat fest of raking eyes and stretching faces and choking and just everything that each guy does very, very well. Noel had Derek Stone off balance for a lot of this match. And I don't know if that's Stone's rust coming back, because Stone threw, like we said, these are the hosses, man. These first four that we've seen are just like kind of different generations of the same cloth. They're all the hosses that bring in the new school and the old school. And we see the old school here. And that's why we see a lot of the rake of the eyes and, you know, just the old school headlocks and straight fists and punch and stuff. Bruin Zamora was much more of a wrestling match than this was, but this was just as much of a beat 'em up match, and both hung in well. This is we know Stone's been coming back from a knee injury. We've seen him kind of dabble in the ring, but this was his biggest test so far, is stepping in there against somebody like Jason, who even the other week we were kind of giving him props for turning stuff around, you know, after the, you know, his little motivational, I guess you may say, conversation with Damon Ace, how Damon has kind of subconsciously remotivated Jason Knoll, because he's looked really good the last couple weeks here. Stone hangs with him, but like I said, it turns into an ultimate cheat fest of a guy cheating a guy on the ropes, and then you got Ref Alice in there. She's losing complete control of the given situation. Nobody's listening to her. As a matter of fact, Jason's getting in her face more times than I can count. I lost count, and it almost cost him too, because Stone rolls him up while he's yelling at Alice. That should be less yelling and more dodging of roll-ups, because we're going to see later on the roll-ups were put to perfect use in a match that we're going to talk about later. But here it
Next,
was
actually.
right here it was Noel's folly, as far as I'm concerned, that he was arguing with Ref Alice more than he was doing anything. And it does end up costing him, because Stone regains control. We see the big 10 punch in the corner. Stone gets up on the second rope. We don't see him get up on the second rope like that, but it's got to against a guy like Jason. We see the big 10 punch in the corner, but Noel's still resilient after this. And this just may be Derek Stone's, like, I don't want to say, you know, lack of competition as of late, but I don't think he was hitting Noel hard enough. I really think he had to plant Noel, and I don't know if it was cardio or whatever it might have been, but Noel still had far too much in the tank after that 10 count, the 10 punch there. And we see not necessarily a sky high, because it's hard to get to Derek Stone up that high, but we see the big power bomb at the end, and Jason Knoll gets a big win. This may be against the guy who's only had a couple matches as of recent, but with the amount of XP and everything that Derek Stone brings to the table, with his kind of fettering alliance with Lord Mitchell Taylor and his kind of mentorship with Smoke and Mirrors, which I don't know what that is, if that's mentorship or if that's just beating up the new guys, having some fun with that. But tonight, Jason Knoll brought a true big guy wrestling match to Derek Stone and came out the winner, John, and looked better because of it. And if Jason wants to talk about some respect, this is the time that people, I think, really have to start paying mind to Jason Knoll.
He got a W. Let's just give him credit for that, because it's been a while since he's had one of those. But no, good match. Um, this definitely helps Jason Knoll going into Sin Bodhi next Thursday at No Thanksgiving for that NRW Championship. Obviously, we don't know of a stipulation for that match if there is going to be one. But all I know is that if Jason's going to find something or find some type of momentum going into that match, which he hasn't really generated a lot of recently, this was the match to do it, and he was able to come up on top. So, wow, love watching Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. My favorite is Mercury Yane. He reminds me of a young Triple H. I thought he was going with the Triple I comment.
The young well,
remember that?
Richard Simmons was white, so that's okay.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a clip that'll last forever in the archives of the Dudes and Belts. That's for sure.
If you go back and really watch some old school Frazier, you could see some young Yaden on Sunday nights when we watched the NRW Rewind or Charge Rewind. We're watching the Rewind lately. Back when the company was called NRW and Yaden was one of the founders back then, there are matches where you get a very strong Triple H vibe off of Mercury Yaden. Very strong. I'll agree with that. I've never really said that or brought that up on Sundays, but because I don't know how he feels about it. But since you said it first, it's on you. I'll just agree with you.
All right. And Derek Stone.
Alice Lane. How we doing? Sorry, Alice popped in the chat. Had to say hello to a fellow zebra.
No, I feel.
How we doing, kid?
I see how it is. It's okay. But no, Derek Stone lost tonight. He'll get back on his feet. He's got a match against Smoke and Mirrors at No Thanksgiving with Lord Mitchell Taylor. I think they'll be fine, and we'll see what happens going forward next week. Speaking of next week, Remy D finds himself in a very interesting match here as he is a week away from finally getting his hands on CBD on his lonesome. No one else around CBD but CBD, and it should be a good match next week. But talk about good matches here. This one might have stole the show tonight. Lobo Loco Balaam goes up against Remy D here.
I was going to say, you want to talk about a good wrestling show. This was a great wrestling show, not just because of the wrestling that was on it, but because of the pacing of the matches that we saw in a row. We saw a couple of the big guys go at it. We saw two of the old school big guys go at it. And now we see two of Rocky Mountain's technical best and brightest, where the future is, pardon me, that really bright light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not very far away. Both of these two represent some of the best that Rocky Mountain Pro has to offer. And they have a great battle against each other tonight. This was an outstanding match. I agree with you, John. I think this was match of the night, like technical match of the night between these two. In the beginning, man, both have the reverses, both have the sequence down pat. Nobody's staying down for either one. Balaam Lynx ends up catching the first little advantage because he shows a little more quickness early, but then Remy's right back there with the quick, catches Balaam out of the corner into the big spine buster, and we get a quick little near fall, and then here we go. Now both of these guys know that they're in the match, know that, like, it's like in football, you get that first hit. I was just talking about this with my son earlier. It was at my son's football game, if you didn't see, in full dad mode. But like, the game really starts when you get that first good pop. And both of these guys gave each other that one good shot in the beginning, and both woke each other up, and both brought an elite match out to everybody to come and watch. Lobo Loco scores a big swinging neck breaker and then a standing neck breaker. Nice combo right after the other. It was really good. Remy answers right back with the snake eyes and the boots, and neither one can really hold an advantage for very long. I love matches like this where you have two great talent and they're just so familiar and just so fluid with their own games that the whole match turns into a stalemate, and it just keeps you on the edge of your seat. Who's going to get that first advantage? And it ends up being Lobo Loco Balaam, who does have that bow and arrow. It's like an inverted bow and arrow, and then he just like splat slams Remy down. Goes back to the nerve hold, grounding Remy to take his quickness away. It almost looked like Remy wanted to wrestle a nice fast-paced match, and Balaam wanted to throw in multiple aspects. And I think that's a token to Balaam's experience and things, where the experience level isn't very much different between the two of these guys. But Balaam is just in the middle of this metamorphosis, and I think he's trying different areas of his game. We've seen Balaam come out and just have grappling. We've seen Balaam come out and just be extremely quick. This was a great amalgam of both styles coming out and trying to keep Remy D off guard, but it's really hard to keep Remy off guard, especially in the corner. He can turn that power on, and he does in the corner. Nice STO to Balaam, that hip cartwheel hip attack that he does, man, and it's just outstanding. The two of them get into the as a referee, I call it the sequence of death, where each guy manages to get the pins and the reversals on each other and re-rolling each other, and everything is a 2 count, and we're looking at it, and it's just one guy is just this close, and it ends up being Lobo Locum that has that extra little drop of gas in the tank, that one little extra pull on the legs in the roll-up, and ends up getting the surprise win of the 1-2-3. This match was a complete stalemate. It was such a great exhibition of technical prowess out of both of the fellas that it only could end with one quick little surprise type of situation, because these guys would have kept going all night, in my opinion, John, if they just kept. But that one last roll up that Lynx got, that Lobo Loco Balaam got, proved to be the difference maker. And then we had a great sign of respect afterwards too. Great men outside the ring, great competitors inside the ring, and much respect all around.
Yeah, we can't. Remy D can't really hang his head on this match. He was literally one roll up away from beating Lobo Loco Balaam. But Balaam again, I mean, finds ways to win. That's been his MO for a long time. And when he's back into a corner, he acts like a wildcat, or in this case, a wolf at the moment, and finds ways to pick up victories when it matters the most. And we don't have Balaam on the card for No Thanksgiving as of right now. Obviously, that could change once we get closer to the event. I'm expecting him to be a part of the show at some point. But if he's not, he'll be ready to go for Supercharge. And I mean, obviously, we saw it happen at Shocktober when he made his return. And I guess you could kind of say slay his demon in a way. But it doesn't look like. I have a funny feeling that Balaam and Echo are probably going to be seeing eye to eye at some point in the future, because I personally don't think that that's completely 100% done. I think Echo still needs another ass kicking or two in him to have Balaam be like, all right, I'm fine. I'm good. But again, Balaam rolling, saw him on charge last week. And then obviously tonight on the last Ignition, taking care of Remy D in a great back and forth match. And of course, Remy, we've already talked about. We'll be talking about Remy within the next few days going into No Thanksgiving about his match with CBD. So we'll save all that. Moving forward here, and we got to talk about a division here that has been really kind of at its peak in terms of competitiveness. And we're going to start off here with Lola versus Lilith.
Are you good?
Yeah, we're good.
Do you happen to notice
maybe
opinions and attitudes and things in the Lockettes division are shifting? These ladies are picking up new attitudes. They're picking up new techniques and tendencies. I noticed a lot of it in this match. We've noticed Lola over the last couple weeks go into the backpack and, go into the dark side, I guess, if you will. It's that aggression level that we've been talking about for a long time that she's really needed. And she's going to an aggression level, but it's on the other side of what one might call the moral threshold for what happens in the middle of the ring. I mean, we've seen the woman come out with a damn taser a couple times and put it to use. And Lilith Grimm usually doesn't have to, because she comes out and she's the most powerful Lockette in the division. And we've seen that time in and time out. And this is a definition of it, of taking your power. And she's another one where we've talked about Jason Knoll with the Damon Ace influence on the side. We know that Lilith also has the same influence, that it's Damon kind of sowing the seeds in different areas to keep people on top of the other people that are near the person that he wants to deal with. This is a massive tapestry of like manipulation, I guess you could say, from Damon Ace. However, if you look at Lilith and Jason, it is working for them. Tonight, Lola tries to row the boat and Lilith has the power. Lola tries anything and Lilith comes back with the power. Lola has to go low. She has to take the knees out. She's smiling on the side as she's choking Lilith on the ropes. Like, everything is kind of devolving a little bit here amongst especially these two Lockettes. They're kind of devolving down into a do whatever I have to get everything I need, and I don't care what I have to do to get there. There might be one sentence that sums that up a little bit better, but at the same point in time, Lola ends up coming out of this with a big win, albeit,
and she needed it.
But it's on the other side of the situation, because we see the only time that Lola could really get an advantage in this match, and you know, it was when Lilith was backed into a corner, and it was the kicks to the guts when Lilith couldn't get out of there. But to Lola's credit, one could say that she's isolating Lilith and she's not letting her use that power, giving her the space to get the big wind-ups and the boots in. And then Lola ends up getting her down, stacks her up, and puts 2 feet on the ropes. Ref doesn't see it. And Lola gets the win. But, John, I'd also want to talk about, we could talk about a little bit what happened after the bell. Because even after Lola wins this match on a wicked cheaty kind of roll-up there, she starts attacking Lilith Grimm. And then Lilith turns the tables and starts attacking Lola. What in the Sam Hill is going on in this Lockettes division? It may be as competitive as it's been in the longest time. However, we are seeing massive attitude fluctuations and different things and changes. If you're the champ, is there any consistency that you're seeing anything right now?
I'm seeing that the Lockettes should be competing in NRW matches.
You bring a taser to the ring.
Bring tasers, hammers that's forged with steel. God only knows how much that weighs. Yeah, no. I mean, it's gone competitive to the point where they're starting to cheat against each other. So it is what it is. Obviously, Lola didn't use the taser tonight, but ended up with a victory, a much-needed victory over Lilith Grimm, which, if I'm Lilith Grimm, I need to shake that off as quick as possible, because you have a Lockettes championship match against Adrian Mascara coming up next Thursday, and you need to not think about that. And you also need to not get suspended before that match, too, which you were definitely very close to doing, in my opinion. And I think if Danger Dean was in the building, that possibly could have happened, and you probably would have lost your title match. So I would probably stay far away from the ring until Thursday. That's my opinion. But who knows? But yeah, Lola definitely, granted, cheated her way into a victory here with her feet being on the second rope. Lola comes up with a huge victory, and I wouldn't say it puts her up close to the top of the pecking order in terms of a shot at that championship in the future, but it's definitely a starting point. So we'll see what happens.
It is a win over the number one contender.
Yeah, exactly.
A wicked cheaty win. But we've seen before that sometimes it's only the number that counts of how many wins, not how you got the win. We'll have to see where Lola takes.
So we'll go from a chaotic first match in the Lockettes division to the next match featuring your Lockettes champion Adrian Mascara and Noel, a rematch from Shocktober, as a matter of fact.
And here we go again. Not so much Adrian. Adrian has been a great fighting champion. She's gone out there. She's taken on anybody across the ring. We see that she grants Lilith Grimm that title match. We saw this just the other night on Charged, that she came out and answered the call and gave Lilith her rematch or gave her a title match. Maybe you wouldn't look at it as a rematch, but as a title match at No Thanksgiving coming up next week. And here she is again in the ring with Noelle. But when I say here we go again, the attitude shift. After we've seen somebody who's actually been making, in my personal opinion, aside from the rise of Adrian Mascara in 2023, Noelle, I believe, has been also through some of the biggest metamorphosis in Rocky Mountain Pro, not just in the Lockettes division. We saw the juvenile delinquent Noelle Summit, and then the marionette Noelle, and then the kind of lost and distraught Noelle Summit. And now this new from Sin Bodhi's Freak Show, they said, is where she is from this evening. And I will agree with it because this is a different Noelle than we've been seeing as the lost and distraught marionette Noelle Summit. This is, I don't know if you could call her the marionette anymore. I don't think she is a puppet. I think now she's being seen as somebody who is growing beyond that which should be controlled. Now Sin is teaching her how to harness this. And I think that's an important next evolution in Noelle's career, is how to harness all of that aggression, because the aggression has worked before, but many times it's worked against her just as many times as it's worked for her. If Sin can kind of reel this in and help her out, him and Mr. Happy kind of bringing the young one along, we see a very different Noelle tonight too. It looks like it's already started to pay some dividends. Now, there were times in the match where Noelle did go back to her old ways, like standing on the hair and pulling the hair up. So, but then there were other times when she went to choke her and then turned back to the ref and said, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry." Now, Adrian gave her a kick to the chest for it, but we see a different Noelle. It almost started with a hug in the match. It looked like she went in for one of those weird, I'm hugging you, but I'm also not letting you move hugs. Like, do you ever have like an uncle that would grab you and just never let you move? "Oh, I love you, kid," and just toss you all around the room and everything. But a really good wrestling match broke out of this, and Noelle should be proud of this match, even though Adrian does get the win at the end with a big neck breaker. It just kind of shocks Noelle. Throughout this entire match, this was another very good stalematey type of match where Adrian wasn't really fighting from behind, but each woman took turns reversing an advantage and then gaining their own advantage. A ton of back and forth. Adrian hits a beautiful, like a Jeff Hardy corner boots, where he would spring himself up and kind of come down and just boots to the chest. Hits that beautiful. It was when Noelle was biting Adrian on the knee. I apologize. It wasn't a choke, where she kind of bites her in a grapevine moment, but then she goes right back to like the nice full Nelson grapevine. So we're seeing some great wrestling. We're seeing another metamorphosis of Noelle Summit here, but in the whole meantime, she's still in the ring with the Lockett's champion Adrian Mascara, and Adrian Mascara makes sure to let her know that, "Hey kid, I'm going to be the champ for a while, and this is why." Because after everything Noelle does to keep herself in this match, Adrian comes firing off of the ropes after a beautiful basement thrust kick. It wasn't a drop kick. It was just one solid thrust kick to the side. And then as Noelle is getting up, a beautiful snap swinging neck breaker. Say that 5 times fast. And not spit all over your own microphone.
I'm
But
not
after
going to
the
try.
swinging,
Thank you.
yeah, I just spat all over my microphone. It's ridiculous right now. But Adrian Mascara gets a beautiful win here, looking really good. But this was a beautiful, after the first Lockettes match we saw was kind of cheaty, and there was a lot more just boots and punches. Now we see the Lockettes match where it was much more of a technical masterpiece. We saw a lot more of, let's say, like, even though Brew and Zamore was more of a hoss fight than this match was, it was still much more technical than the other match. So Stone and Noel was very much like Lola and Lilith, with just a lot of strikes and a lot of ground and pound and a lot of using the ropes for stuff. But then Adrian and Noelle came out and completely flipped the script and had one hell of a great wrestling match. John, I swear Noelle is not, I really don't think she is very far away from a breakout situation, whether it's one match, whether it's a series of matches, whether she gets herself to a #1 contendership. I think 2024 could very well be Noelle Summit's year.
I'm willing to go out and make a bold prediction right now that from what we've been seeing over the past, let's say, 6 months from Noelle, I will come out and say on this show, this fine show that we have called Dudes and Belts Reignited, for the last time in a while, of course,
Mm-hmm.
Um, that Noel in 2024 will be holding some type of Lockett's Gold next year. That is my
I
bold prediction.
I agree with you. I think she's setting up her climb up the ladder quite nicely in this home stretch that is the end of 2023
And
to set herself up for a
she's getting
big
that
24.
extra experience too in the process. So she might end up ending 2023 on a, whether it's a high low or no or low note, it really doesn't matter in Noel's case, because right now she's got a very good backing with Sin Bodhi and Mr. Happy that can guide her along. And I'm telling you, 2024, if she keeps up this pace, man, it's looking pretty bright for her future as Lockett's champion. So
And I think she's smart enough to know to hang around with Sin Bodhi, with Mr. Happy. Both have been champions many places, many different times. The wealth of knowledge that can come off of them for her to move her and motivate her forward is so much exponentially greater than anything that weirdo Salem Wolf could have taught her. That guy used to freak me out.
yeah, and right now there's no words to really describe Adrian's run right now except impressive, and she's
Yes.
definitely making one hell of a case for Rookie of the Year currently right now during our peak awards. So obviously we'll be talking a lot about her next week as we get closer to No Thanksgiving, as she will be defending her Lockett's championship against one Lilith Grimm, and we'll see what happens during that match, and let's see how these two actually coexist before that match actually happens. Don't forget, we still have one more go home episode of Charge coming up this upcoming Tuesday, so anything can happen between now and then.
Yes.
But moving on, we got to talk about this match because I wouldn't call this an upset just based on the situation right now, but it was definitely nice to see a repeat outcome from this match a year ago. Damon Ace going up against Briscoe Crown, your charge champion.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't call it an upset when the champ wins. And he didn't win like in any kind of oh, I got lucky kind of way. No.
He did not use a taser.
No, he did not have to use a damn taser. He didn't have to choke a guy out on the ropes. No, this was a great match, and Briscoe has gone to school on guys. He's not just, young and on the way up and just kind of winning. So that's how we got. No, he's extremely smart. If you sit down and talk wrestling with this guy, he's amazingly smart when it comes to the actual ebb and flow of how to deal with a match. And as he's not one of the bigger guys, you have to get used to fighting people much bigger than you. And Damon Ace significantly qualifies as much bigger than honestly most of the rest of the human race, to be honest with you. When you stand next to him, like the TV doesn't, like, they say the TV adds weight. The TV seems to take like, 5, 6 inches off of Damon Ace's height. And then when you meet him and you got to look up and the sun's in your eyes, he's an extremely big dude. And Briscoe Crown understands speed and quickness beat the bigger guy. Look, I'm a smaller guy as well. And if I was in a match against a guy twice my size, don't get in close. Don't be throwing punches. Don't try to just kick the guy all match. You got to stick and move. You got to be in and out of there. You got to get nice crossbody, high impact, get the momentum flowing on your side. And Briscoe does very well in the beginning, reversing everything Damon can get off, coming off the ropes, just blocking Damon's boot, coming in with his own shot, shots in the corner. He's just running Damon Ace ragged for the first 30 seconds of the match, and Damon's out of breath in the beginning. But then Damon has and always will have, even against guys his own size, that one punch power, that one strike, that game breaker ability to change a match's flow with one shot. And that all the air gets let out of the room in the beginning with a giant boot to Briscoe's face coming off. After Briscoe had just ducked the first one, he eats Damon's size 14 on the second one. And then Damon just goes to work. We saw earlier Brew had a game plan against Zamore. Come out against Zamore, go after the knee, ankle, and foot area to lock that cloverleaf so that his knee goes numb and he can't deal with the pain. Damon Ace had a plan. go out there and attack Briscoe Crown's damaged or surgically repaired, I should say, right elbow. And Damon just mauls this elbow. It starts with the finger joint manipulation, and it ends up to a point later in the match where Damon is just blatantly ripping off Briscoe's arm pads and stomping and wrenching and twisting and elbow dropping absolutely everything that he can onto Briscoe's elbow, because that kind of takes the crowning achievement out of play. If you can't get the guys wrapped around because your arm won't work. And we even see it later when Briscoe tries to cover Damon. He can't get any kind of force when he hooks that leg because his arm is kind of junk at the moment. So Briscoe now goes back to the quickness because the strikes aren't going to work. The kicks aren't going to work because now Damon's faster. Damon's gotten his wind back. Briscoe's on the ground. He's wrenching his arm. He's just in so much pain while Damon's getting those fresh breaths of air. That is another hard one to say. In his lungs while Briscoe is struggling. Briscoe ends up coming up with a diamond in the rough right here. Uses a move. We've been seeing him kind of dabbling with this reverse DDT here and there. It's not too dissimilar from the crowning achievement in some positions. Tonight's position was very different, how he leveled him with him. He went to go up and over. Damon whipped Briscoe into the corner, and Briscoe uses that momentum to get up, but Damon manages to catch him, and that's a bad spot for Briscoe Crown. But Briscoe does something amazing, uses his own momentum off the ropes, pushes Damon back onto his back into that reverse DDT, and the lights go out for Damon Ace for 3.5 seconds. Only 3.5 seconds, except to win a wrestling match, the lights only have to go out for 3. And Briscoe Crown wins a banger of a match against a guy twice his size. This is very similar to the rematch very similar to the initial bracket buster match that we saw in the Grand Prix tournament, except Briscoe is now far beyond that XP level. He is the charge champion. He knows he's in there against the former charge champion in Damon Ace. And he just brings everything that he possibly can to beat a guy twice his size, maybe with more XP. Actually, I can't even say that. Definitely with more XP, but finds a way, Johnny, to win this match. I don't want to say it was surprising. I want to say it's Briscoe using the ring, using his awareness to get the move off when Damon wasn't expecting it. And a big win for the kid. Your charge champion looking good.
Yeah, and then we saw what happened after the match, of course.
Damon's sour potatoes.
In pure Damon
sour
fashion.
potatoes. Comes back and just beats the holy crap out of Briscoe in the middle of the ring and then drapes the belt over him. Sorry, it sucks to be embarrassed, but sometimes you got to eat a little crap every once in a while, Damon.
I think this match basically proves one thing and one thing only. Never count out Briscoe Crown.
Damn straight.
No matter who's in front of him. Because apparently, as we saw tonight, he can beat you in more ways than just a crowning achievement. So, Briscoe apparently was still training mentally when he was out. Might not be physically, but it seems like his ring psychology has gotten a lot better, and it's showing by picking up this huge win over one Damon Ace, who is right now currently playing a whole bunch of mind games his own with Sin Bodhi, and it looks like that whole situation is far from over, but this is not going to sit well with Damon, obviously, going forward, and it doesn't help his chances in possibly getting a rematch for that NRW championship down the road. So, tough loss for Damon. And Briscoe, man, you want to talk about going into no Thanksgiving on a high note? There's no higher note than being Damon Ace on the last Ignition. So,
I mean, you touched on it. I touched on it just recently when I was just there, sitting down, talking to Briscoe Crown. This is a different Briscoe Crown than even just when we were there at Milestone. This is a very different Briscoe. His XP bar has leapt up so many different levels ever since that title's gone around his waist. It was almost that like wake-up call that he needed. He was doing all the right things, and he was coming up a little bit short. He went off on himself, out of your starting lineup, away from coach, and getting it done finding ways to put his name in the win column almost every single week on either Charged or Ignition. And this is a gigantic, we talk about a statement win earlier, like say Jason Knoll when he beat Derek Stone. This is a big, big confidence statement from Briscoe Crown that anybody in the locker room who had eyes and designs on the Charged championship, you are going to have to go against somebody that, yes, you may be bigger than, but I'm telling you, Briscoe's heart grows 3 sizes bigger every time he gets in a match with a guy twice his size. And you may have him in size, but if you don't beat Briscoe in heart and resiliency, you are going to have the hottest time in the world, young person, beating Briscoe Crown, especially for that Charged championship.
And going off of that, we now go into our main event of the evening, the last main event and the last match of Ignition for a while. We have Camacho
Speaking of hot,
and
oh my God.
KSO going up against Chopper City, your reigning RMP Tag Team Champions.
Dude, speaking of hot, actually, let me say that way less Boston, so people actually know what I just said.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Speaking of heart. Oh, that's so hard to say. It's so hard to say.
You have to force it out. I know. It sucks.
Speaking of heart and gaining XP exponentially, these two kids, Camacho and Queso, okay, both young, both recent graduates of Al Snow Wrestling Academy, finding a kinship with each other.
Did I say Queso or KSO? I think I might have butchered that.
Both are correct.
Are they both correct?
If anybody in chat could correct us, is it because the ring announcer announces Queso both ways, as KSO and Queso? Which one is correct? The 3 letters or one name? If anybody could type that in out there that is in a little bit more of a know, because each week even when I was there, I would hear him announce both ways. So, but either way, while people are talking about that, the amount of hot between these two young fellas going up against the tag team champions in Atiba and Bruce Wayne's the final boss, no shortage of confidence right here. And I don't think they were taking the young guys lightly, because I think matches like this, John, you and I are, getting a little older, and we've been bowling a very long time. And when we see some of these young ones coming up, you can't take them lightly, because you have to remember who you were. And that wasn't very long ago. And you remember the heart and the fight, the heart. It's the one where you remember the heart and the fire that you had in your belly. And you got to watch that these young ones on the way up, especially when they get matches, albeit not for the title, but it didn't have to be. The way that these two grow in this match and don't just lay down, they deliver their fair share of punishment. As a matter of fact, there were many times in this match where they had the decided advantage. Very early, Boss ends up getting tripped up and kind of gets, not really pinned, but like he gets covered real quick by Camacho, who really turns up the speed here. And then Camacho does the same thing against Atiba, but then it takes a few seconds, and Atiba and Boss can kind of take over with their experience and with their size advantage, to be completely honest. So it's okay. So it's like the word, like queso, Spanish word for,
yeah.
It's not KSO. Okay, that's what I thought. I figured it was the whole name itself, but it's still cool. You could spell your name and you could say your name and it sounds the exact same. That's still kind of a cool name. I kind of really like that. And plus I love cheese. So we'll go for, even though anyway, so,
you don't like Mexican?
KSO, huh?
You don't like Mexican?
Not a lot, no, but I love cheese. I could speak a little Spanish, so those two things kind of go together. I know I'm Italian. I like my cheese on my pizza most times, but grande queso, or queso grande.
Oh,
big cheese.
All right, finish.
A lot of cheese. I want a lot of cheese. I'm starving. Okay, I'm wicked hungry over here. I'm starving. I haven't had any dinner yet. But no, we see a lot of cohesion out of Queso and Camacho. You could tell that these guys just didn't get paired together and they're going out there and they're just kind of doing their thing. No, they're developing. And we've seen similar things from Smoke and Mirrors, from Mick Diamond and Cushman. And we've watched how they've evolved over the last few months. And I think this is what we're going to see out of Queso and Camacho at the exact same time here. Johnny, did you happen to see a little bit of the old tag team that we used to give a whole boatload of grief to? Do you see the young ones showing that they're studying and that they're watching and that they're giving, like, they're giving the past the honor that it deserved? Did you see Queso and Camacho run the patented JK Pop corner dropkick spot?
Yeah.
Did you see them work that to absolute perfection?
Yeah.
Did you see them have Chopper City on their heels more than a couple times?
Yeah.
I am extremely impressed. It takes the final boss to just stop wrestling and throw the power game out there. And even then, it almost doesn't work because we see the double chop from both of the fellas right before the boss kind of takes matters into his own hands. When Camacho gets his legs up and they both chop the boots and they both hurt their chop hand, you kind of think that Camacho and Queso got a little thing rolling at this moment in time. Boss gets a hold of Queso, big batarang. Normally, that's the end of the match. Camacho, young Camacho, we've seen him wrestle just a few matches. He's still so young and so new with the wherewithal to get in there and break up that pin. With the wherewithal. I love the psychology that we saw tonight from a lot of the younger ones of dealing with moving forward against bigger and stronger and more experienced opponents. Briscoe Crown in the match before, and then Queso and Camacho in this match. But Atiba and Boss are too much for them at the end. However, good sign of respect. There's a lot of good coming in the future. Atiba comes in, gets the tag, and hits the big flapjack bomb. And Camacho can't break that one up because Boss has him out. And plus, if he did break it up, it would have been a DQ. But good win for the tag team champions. They're riding high going into no Thanksgiving. But I think the biggest winners tonight off of Ignition are Queso and Jay Camacho for standing toe-to-toe with the tag team champions, with the two most charismatic people in all of RMP at this moment in time. Change my mind. If you can, change my mind. Of the two most charismatic and some of the best cohesive teamwork that we have in all of RMP, the two young ones threw one hell of a match, and they have nothing to hang their heads about losing this match. And I think they kind of put themselves on the landscape here, that other tag teams beware. Don't take Camacho and Queso lightly.
So what am I challenging?
What?
So what am I challenging?
Oh, for changing my mind?
Yeah.
That Atiba and Bruce Waynes are the two most charismatic, electric men, superstars, overall, in general, in RMP.
No, you're pretty dead on that. I'm not going to challenge
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can.
Well, I mean, if I'm Camacho and Queso in their situation, being as young as they are and as green as they are, I wouldn't want anybody else teaching me than the longest reigning tag team champions in Rocky Mountain Pro history, JK Pop. Be perfectly honest.
They paid some attention. They paid some attention.
Smart move. And it
we
showed
hate them.
tonight.
They're knuckleheads. JK Pop, both of them. Knucklehead and a half. Knucklehead City, kid. But they scouted and they went to school. It shows the kids are paying attention. And that's what we like to see. The young ones growing and giving some of the veterans a little surprise here and there. So, love to see it.
Good showing by Camacho and Queso, but again, Chopper City rocking and rolling, and they're going to have to keep on building this momentum because on the other side of the coin here, no Thanksgiving, they're going to be facing a wall here in Echo and Brew, and they are not going to be, a slouch. This is probably going to be the toughest test for Chopper City to date since they've been the champs. So it should be a very interesting one, and it might actually be one of the top matches of the evening. I'm going to go with that prediction. That tag match could easily steal the show.
About that. There's going to be a lot of emotions going on.
It's got potential. It's got potential.
We've seen Brew really up the game. We've seen Echo kind of flip his own script. But meanwhile, we're watching Chopper City roll in and roll out of matches, and their theme music is playing both times. So it's hard to fight that level of confidence, especially when you're walking in and you and your buddy are already the man. It's going to take somebody else to take that away from you, and they're going to have to fight hard. Brew and Echo, they have it in them. They definitely have the ability, but they're going to have to fight harder than they fought in any of their other singles matches.
All right. Other than that, that is going to conclude tonight's last Ignition for a while. Marky, final thoughts.
You know, if you were going to go out, this was the bang to go out with. This was an outstanding show from top to bottom. Like I said, extremely well paced. I was on a roller coaster ride all night. I was on the edge of my seat a few times. I was yelling at my monitor a few times. Uh, it was a great, great wrestling show. And if this is the last show, then amazing show. Everybody at Rocky Mountain Pro, thank you for the last, year and a half that we've had of this iteration of Ignition. It has been fantastic. All the commentators that we've had through the entire time, wrapping up tonight in the ultimate episode with Crumpton and Lucas Bradwell. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to the faithful. And thank you for Ignition for helping keeping the flame going over here on the East Coast. So we've been able to do this show called Reignited. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a good time. We've had some, we've started some garbage. We've finished some garbage. We've had some people come on the show. It's been a hell of a ride on Thursday nights. It really has been.
And with that, folks, that's going to conclude our final episode of Reignited. Sprouty wants more of your garbage.
My garbage guy?
Your garbage.
There's so much garbage. There was so much garbage between Noel and Stone in that match. You go back every 3 seconds, you're just going to look at it and go, garbage, garbage, garbage. I don't know how. Ref Alice was in that match. She's a saint for being able to put up with that. And I think all of the last, if you've watched Ignitions in the last, let's say even calendar year, when Derek Stone goes out there and he is just the only ref that he cares about, that he says nice things about, is Ref Alice. I think all of that was setting up this match tonight so that he didn't get disqualified on the last. I think this was some long drawn out plan by Derek Stone. And if it was, would you doubt it? No. I think he just did that so he could get away with a lot of the stuff. But either way, that was still a hell of a good old school beat 'em up match. But Alice, you are a saint for putting up with that and not just DQing both of them and throwing your hands in the air and saying the hell with it. I thought you were gonna a couple of times, to be completely honest with you, but lot of garbage. No heart, lot of garbage.
All right. Like we said before, we're gonna kind of get our stuff together and we're going to get going because obviously we still have a lot of active things going on in our neck of the woods, and we're just going to have to deal with it the next couple of days, and hopefully we get some better news up here. But I will say this, we will wrap up with kind of a brief summary on the rest of the week. There is no RMP live this weekend. They are off. I think they'll be off for the next few weekends because I think they're winding down their live tours that they do throughout the course of the summer. I actually think some tacos might be like their second to last or last one. So they're kind of wrapping everything up. Obviously, this is going to be the last Dudes and Belts Reignited for a while as well. When Ignition comes back, we'll come back. So be on the lookout for that if that happens next year or whenever they're ready to bring back Ignition. And then obviously Sunday and Tuesdays, that's not changing. The rewind is still going to happen this Sunday. We will have Coast Crusader here. He should be okay, ready to go. Obviously, he's closer to the situation than we are, so obviously our thoughts are with him still.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll be bombing the Discord call every once in a while on a Tuesday night, so I won't just be here one night a week. Coastal gets to do it twice a week. I'll be bombing in here and there when something crazy happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm an admin of the Discord. I can pop in.
And of course, well, not if I lock you out. I could lock you out if I wanted to.
You can't lock me out. I'm an admin. You can't lock me.
I can unadmin you.
I can unadmin you first.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, unadmin.
And we will still have charge and recharge as well. Actually, starting next Tuesday, we will be going from YouTube to Twitch. We'll have more information on Sunday once we're a little bit more settled in our area. And then other than that, I think that's about it for us. Patreon, we'll talk more about Patreon because we're going to start getting that going the first week of November. That's actually fastly approaching. So we'll be talking about that on Sunday as well. Yeah,
There's gonna
everything
be
that
some funny shit on the Patreon. There's gonna be
e-
some funny shit on the Patreon.
everything that I typically would say tonight, I'm just going to hold off till Sunday because I need sleep. I've been up virtually most of the night last night and all day today. And Marky's going to try and get some sleep. Try
Yeah.
to at least. Um, but yeah, we appreciate all your kind thoughts throughout the situation. I know there are other stuff going on around the world, but this one kind of hit pretty close to home, and greatly appreciate your um, support and your thoughts and your prayers. We should be okay. We'll get through it. You don't want to mess with New Englanders from time to time because we bite back quite a bit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but other than that, folks, for myself, Johnny Deathdrop, and Marky Pins, Wednesday is November 1st. Yeah, I know. We'll be making the switch on Halloween, Tuesday. Did I miss something? I think I did. I don't know.
Actually, I will be here on Tuesday. I will be here on Tuesday.
Never mind. We're going to be doing it on Wednesday. All right.
I just remembered, due to other things that are going to happen after the show, I'll be available to make it
Every Tuesday?
after charged. No, just this week coming up. Just this week coming up.
Okay.
That was part of the thing where if I'm on there and then at the end of the show, I have to be able to make one of the podcasts from coming back and forth on Tuesday nights. So this week I will be on the show on Recharge.
All right. Well, since we're on Twitch and we got to get used to this whole raid thing, I'm gonna raid you over to Yaden because apparently he's gonna be streaming in a few. So
Beautiful.
we're gonna send all you guys over on Twitch there. Trust me, we'll be getting used to this rating thing starting next week. So don't you worry, we'll get a hang on everything. And other than that, folks, we will see you guys on Sunday for another episode of The Rewind. As always, folks, stay safe, stay classy. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, folks.